Okay, recording.
Kailangan ko ng English. Sige. Good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to your request to do a session on facilitating. Sige. I don't know actually everyone that's on the table. Baka we can have a round of introductions, your name and your designation in CNS. Tapos we'll also expect the counterparts to be listened. We'll prescribe a process.
Let's start. So good afternoon. I'm Paul Camas Villanueva. I am the Learning and Knowledge Management Coordinator. Before I was a volunteer since 2011, before I became part of the Check My School Secretariat.
So good afternoon. So I'm Andrej. I've been with Check My School and ANSA since 2011. I'm the current program supervisor for the Check My School Philippines.
Hi, I'm Ate Cariaga. I'm the Sustainability Associate for Check My School. I started this year February.
I'm Giselle. I'm with Check My School since the beginning of 2010. And then I'm the program manager. Just a request for everyone, if we can louder our voice, because I believe this camera is kind of slow in capturing. I mean, it's not so good in capturing low voice.
So, hi everyone, I'm Christine Marie-Louise. I'm the Learning Associate for ANSA.
Sige. Just to get things started, you're all with CNS. The first question I'd like to ask you is, as CNS staff, or someone who's involved with CNS one way or another, what activities or process do you facilitate?
Several.
What kind? What are they usually about? Who do they involve?
Usually, for my part, another component, the use of tools, the monitoring tools.
Meaning it's about telling your partners, your
Yes.
intermediaries,
How to
how to
use
use the tools.
and how to do
So
monitoring.
who are these people that you run these processes with?
So we have different participants. We have teachers, students, parents, people coming from the civil society organization, and other citizen groups.
Right. Si Aldrich.
Well, very recently, so I'm also joining orientation sessions with the volunteers and with other partners of Check My School. So if there are nearby orientations here in Manila, I'll also make it a point to join them. But here in the Secretariat, it's sometimes I decide to facilitate the team meetings.
Okay. So team meetings. Tools. Processes. Si Abby.
For my part, for sustainability part, we usually talk to government partners, private company partners, and
What are the meetings
others.
about? I mean, what?
We talk about the possible sustainability projects for Check My School. So most probably the business models, and then
What's that?
business models.
Business model.
Yeah, and also for looking for issue resolution to solve more issues concerning the private companies, CSR programs, and things like that.
So Giselle.
There's quite a lot, but one is during consultation with government, whenever we present reports or findings, and then during meetings, and then trainings, when we conduct trainings, orientations, and then also in some instances, whenever we have visit in the school, we have what we call this orientation with the people in the school. At the same time, when we after the data updating, we conduct some kind of exit meetings with the partners, and then at the local government or DepEd division level, we also conduct roundtable discussions to create, like ask them for their action plans from the findings that we have gathered.
Christine.
It's mostly on planning and strategic planning with the community members and facilitating brainstorming sessions with them on the projects that they want to propose for the barangay budget. What else?
How will you describe those activities? I mean, if you are, si Abby, for example, you mentioned the situation about you resolve issues. How describe the situation when you are confronted with something like that where you are supposed or expected to resolve issues? What role do you take?
For the check rescue side, we're probably looking at the partnership with the company or that organization. So the objective of the meeting itself is to develop a formal partnership with that. So that's
Where does the conflict come from? Where does the need to resolve issues arise from?
those arise from the collected documents from the ground.
Not in terms of varying positions or differing opinions with the private companies.
We look at their position, current CSR programs, and then we offer something that we could work on together. So that's where we come in. So they are part.
So you're not really in conflict with the ones that you meet with.
Yeah.
So hindi siya issue resolution or an effort to discuss, for example, to reconcile positions. Okay, sige. So describe your experiences in general. How was it? If you are facilitating an orientation session, a feedback meeting, a team meeting, exit meetings, roundtable discussions for your partners to take action on your findings, a strategic planning and brainstorming session with community members, describe these activities. How is it?
Normally, it depends on who are the people involved. Like, for example, if you have like the government and the citizens together, there's like natural clash that you will expect. So, as much as possible, you will try to frame what, like, say, for example, one CSO will tell, you're not doing your job, that's why you have to solve this problem. So, it's in that instance, you already have like a conflict going. I mean,
A
conflict.
natural formula for conflict.
Yes, so you have to, of course, there's an element of respect. Then you have to, okay, we have your what do you call this, your sentiment, and then you will try to form your, what do you call this, to form your, the answer that you want from the government, such in a question way, in a manner of, sir, what do you think about, so this is, we try to make it as much as possible still factual. So it's a, so this CSO say, they're not doing their job, so we say, what we will deliver is we say that information.
Do you find it comfortable? You are also in the position where you are giving feedback,
Yeah.
and yet at the same time you are facilitating the process. How is it?
So as much as possible, if I know that I'm a facilitator, I try to, as much as possible, try to remove first my bias in terms of that. I know that I wanted to give feedback, I can listen, but just tell them, yes, I know that that's right, that what she said, you're not doing your job. So I try to remove that kind of lens and try to what do you call this, be more try to focus on my facilitating responsibility, to try to bring the message from the, say, CSO.
Is that an easy position to be in?
Quite hard, because
Why is that?
you have to remove your you know that you have what you wanted to say something, tapos you also share the sentiment, but as much as possible you try to be kind of neutral on it. So
Let's note some of the things that we heard from Giselle. Number one is the need for objectivity.
yeah.
So removing your removing biases or preconceived notion you might have about who you're sitting with. Especially if you're naturally different, if you're naturally opposable. Aldrich, describe your team meetings. Are they animated? Are they ano ba, silent types? How do your team meetings run?
Well, for our team meetings are faster. Faster is like 3 hours for a meeting, which is
fast.
I mean, we focus more on the tasks and the outputs of what were this done, or what's the status of this and that. So when we discuss more of that, it's more of the tone is kind of formal. It's kind of formal because it seems that we're always talking about the inputs and the outputs.
When people walk away from the team meeting, how do they feel? If the direction and the conduct of the meeting is, these are the things that we need to deliver, you're delivering this, you're delivering that, this needs to be done, this has not been done, you need to do this, you need to do that. If that's the kind of meetings that you do, how do people feel when they walk away from the meeting?
As far as I remember, there is no instance where the meetings get so heated that it ended up one.
No, I mean, if the meeting is focused on the outputs and the task and what needs to be done, how things are not done, how do people usually walk away from the meeting?
Well, our experience that we discuss as a group how we proceed from that, and then let's say if a person in charge is assigned to work on the logistics of a particular activity, and then there's something that's happening on the logistics. That's why it's not prepared. So it's when the team goes and the respective members pitch in ideas on how to make that work. So the facilitator serves as more of getting the ideas and opinion of the other team members and see how their suggestions can help address that particular bottleneck.
If I heard you right, you're saying that if there are issues that need to be resolved during the team meeting, the facilitator seeks contribution from team members, and then given that, how do people feel when they walk away from that meeting? Do they feel unable to create? Do they feel recognized? Do they feel part of the decision that was arrived at?
I can speak from my personal experience, and I feel that it's okay. I feel that
Does it feel like the decision of the group is your decision as well?
I'd say yes.
Okay.
I'd say yes.
See, Christine, when you facilitate strategic planning and brainstorming sessions with the community, how do they usually run like?
Well, it's kind of chaotic at first because there are different people from various sectors of the community, and they have different backgrounds. Like some of them are not knowledgeable on some things, like they don't have enough educational attainment, like that. All of them at first are sort of they want to express what they have in mind, and they sometimes oppose the others.
What do you do with overeager participants like that?
So what we do is we try to tone down them.
How?
At first we address them. We acknowledge their ideas, and then after acknowledging their ideas, sometimes we really put their ideas on a meta card just so they will see it in boards or in
So affirmation.
Yes, affirmation. And then after that, we go to another participant. That way, the very eager participant will sort of tone down because he can see that his idea is already posted on the wall.
Simple. when you do orientation meetings with partners regarding the tools, how does it usually run like?
And it depends on the audience. So if our audience is the youth or the students, it's quite lively. Unlike if our students are parents, so they're quite serious, and sometimes you feel that they are not interested.
What do you do if, or it's the same tools na that you use with the parents or with the youth? Do the process or the approach vary?
Yes.
How?
For the parents, I make it a point that at the end of the process, they need, there should be a real appreciation of the monitoring. Like telling them that through monitoring, we can help resolve school issues. Through monitoring, we can identify available resources, and we can justify that teachers should not be asking
But
donations.
if you had the students as participants, what's the approach like? So with the parents, you throw in, you make them conscious of the impact of monitoring for their children. If you had youth participants, mas conscientization, if you notice, it's like making them feel how it's going to impact on the lives of their children. But if they were the children themselves or they were the youth, how do you approach the situation? How do you approach the process?
So basically, I think it is easier for me to facilitate within the youth because our age is not quite far from each other.
Or so you think?
Yeah. So yeah. So I always tell them that we are the primary beneficiary of this monitoring activity since we are the students. So if we have better education services, then we will have a quality education. So from that, the motivation of doing the monitoring itself boosts their interest in participating in the activity.
Okay, that's great. I noticed that you have a lot of experiences already with facilitating. And the experiences are varied, from simple team meetings to meeting with partners or meeting running processes with the community or with the business sector. And there are a lot of helpful things already that you are conscious of, and we will go back to some of this as we go along the specific aspects of the presentation. But note that there are some helpful strategies that you can actually employ when you're facilitating. One is keeping objective. How do you keep objective in the process, considering that you are actually bringing in bad news to your partners or even to your government counterparts? There's this other insight that you shared about focusing on the outputs or tasks. So there might be some differences in terms of perhaps age or perhaps interest or perhaps the amount of time that people can invest in the meeting, but I'll really say that it might be important to focus on outputs and the tasks that need to be done because we don't have the luxury of time. There's only so much time available for us to do our team meeting. And then another helpful aspect also is the contribution from among team members, recognizing that they're actually part of the process. Yeah? And then they own the decision, ownership or stakeholdership of agreements or decisions that the group has arrived at. And it's important to affirm the participants, even if they're a little difficult, even if they're different, to approach it. And then, the consciousness of the background and the nature of participants. It cannot be one size fits all. So, if you are in a group of participants where you have youth or children, you treat it differently. Even if you have the same subject matter, you treat it differently as against a crowd with mothers or adult participants. Okay. We'll go back to these insights and lessons later, but just to level off with your expectation, despite the many processes that you actually facilitate, brainstorming, team meetings, and then feedback meetings with partners or roundtable discussions and all that, I think there's one common thread that you actually run. You all run meetings regardless of the nature and the purpose of the meeting, and that's the focus now. A different kind of facilitating is actually required if it's a learning or training activity. If it's a learning or training activity, the focus is on the learner. Whereas if it's a meeting, the focus is on the objective or the outcome desired. So you go to a meeting with a clear agenda in mind. What do you want to get out of that process? If you're meeting with business sector, your objective is to win them over to your side, right? If it's a team meeting, your objective of the meeting is to resolve action points. If it's a meeting with your external partners, the output desired or the outcome that you want to get out of the process is you want them to agree to the findings and take action on the negative aspects of the findings. The meeting, when you are facilitating meetings, the focus is on the output or of the outcome. The learner, the training, or a learning activity, the focus is on the ability of the learner to learn or to acquire learning desired from out of the process. But for this afternoon, our focus actually is facilitating meetings kasi there's so much to learn about facilitating. It can take years to actually master the skill, and there are several techniques. But to narrow down our expectation, to narrow down the focus of our discussion, this activity, is mainly about facilitating meetings. Okay? Therefore, if you are to facilitate meetings, what is it? What's facilitating? And what does it mean to facilitate meetings? Before we answer those questions, we'll do it. Giselle is going to facilitate a short discussion resolving the issue if, whether or not, assuming you are the executive director, and there's this looming issue of declining productivity from among ANSA staff. People are not turning in their reports, people are not reporting to the office regularly, productivity has gone down, and you are confronted with the issue, and you realize that the people, ANSA staff, are actually moonlighting, doing several other things outside. No? So you want to resolve or propose a policy on whether or not ANSA staff should be allowed to take in other engagements outside of ANSA. So you'll be the facilitator. Everyone else here are your participants in the team meeting.
Hold on, I'll just...
You can use the board. You can move the camera elsewhere so that it's better captured. You can use the projector.
Pupurahin na po ba ito? Kailangan natin?
Yes.
Or kailangan picture na?
What are these?
Hindi maalala ko muna yan. Yeah, okay.
Okay lang, I'll keep this space.
Alright, sige.
Okay, so good afternoon, you. How are you? Okay, so well, I called for a meeting primarily because I just need to discuss some matters that was related to me or a feedback that was related to me by some other people. But maybe more or less you already have an idea, and this has something to do with productivity as ANSA. So maybe we need to address it. So I'd like to ask for your help to confirm this, and at the same time try to help me find solutions about it. Okay? So again, this has something to do with productivity. So my question is simple. So far, what are your observations, at least for this year, 2014? What is your assessment about our productivity? Excuse me, Mr. Delivery, can I have your attention? Can I ask for you to sit down and Okay, so we have here meta cards. If you can help me just try to assess like if there are any concerns about the productivity plans, how are we doing? So we have a meta card there that maybe you can share your insights to. Anyway, it should be fast. It's just one topic.
What color?
Blue. Let's use blue.
Okay.
Yeah, just write in the meta cards. If you have any
We
observations.
can just tell it instead of writing because you have said that this should be short.
Yeah, but it's a good way to also document so that we have something to look forward to or something to actually refer to once we're done with the meeting.
I mean, we can just record this so it will be easier.
Yeah, but
Let's just move along with the improvement and then we can finish quickly.
Are you fine with that? Do you prefer to just discuss this, or do you prefer to use meta cards? I'm fine with discussing it if that's if that's what the body wants.
Anything goes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to discuss
Anything
it.
goes.
You're fine with discussing it. Okay, so well we can do that. I can have a seat and we can just listen to the discussion. And by the way, since I wanted this to be documented, can someone volunteer to document?
Don't do it. I have many things to do. You can do it.
Okay.
You can do it.
Okay. So again, I'll go back to the initial discussion. So I'll keep this very informal so that we can discuss this more. Again, I wanted to just my only agenda is that I wanted to know if there are any concerns or what are your observations in terms of the productivity of us as hands.
I have a question. What indicators do we use to refer to productivity? I think we're employed. I think we should.
first define what is
Okay.
productivity.
Okay. What is productivity? Maybe let's make it.
I left the other.
No, it's we're just five. So, what do you mean when we talk about?
I think productivity for me, it's all about delivering what should be delivered.
Okay. Deliver what should be delivered. Okay. Aldrich.
What's that? Yeah, productivity. I think if you submit the outputs on time, regardless of whether
So we have deliver about deliverables about time.
Let me go back to Aldrich. What do you mean by outdated? I mean, what if it's not up to the standard of the output? If it's on time but the standard is not, yeah. So does that decrease the productivity or does that affect the productivity?
well, of course, assume that the outputs
That's
are
okay. So anyway,
That's okay.
we're just discussing here the. Let's keep the discussion first on that particular question. What do you mean by productivity? Let's not question first what others.
Sure. So for me, productivity is about efficiency. So using the time.
So also
Given.
related. But you were mentioning anyway. Okay, so it also has something to do with efficiency and time.
Well, for me, it's kind of combination of both of them. It's producing good quality output at the right time.
Quality is the right.
What defines quality?
It's okay. We'll keep first the discussion. If you want to question that, I will note it. But you were asking about who defines quality. Maybe that's something that should be part of our discussion.
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
Who
Because
defines quality?
putting it on the table.
Okay. I'll keep it here. Okay, so far we have here defining productivity in terms of delivering the deliverables, something about time and efficiency, and about quality at the right time. Okay, now that we have this, do we all agree? Any comments so far? So 3 elements: quality, and time, and deliverables. Delivering what you have promised. Okay, we're done with the productivity. Now that we have cleared what productivity is, again, I'm going back. How do we address, what are your observations so far in terms of our productivity as ads?
Well, I guess most of us have different engagements with other institutions. Like we are are also consultants of different civil society organizations.
Okay, so you are saying that somehow there is our time is
Some of our time is divided.
okay.
I think we should always remember that we should not deal with productivity issues here. Because the very first, the organization itself must has its own productivity indicators.
Hold on. We're not yet saying that there is productivity issues. I'm just what are your observations so far in terms of productivity?
But I think we're getting into there with that concern. So I think as of now, I think we don't have issues on productivity for as long all staffs deliver what should be delivered.
So no issues on productivity.
Yes. And the organization itself is producing outputs based on our time frame. So I think we should not deal with this matter anymore. For as long we meet all our objectives as an organization, all staff, despite that they are not around from time to time, for as long they can produce an output needed by the organization, I think we should not have this issue.
Okay. How about the others? What others?
Paul mentioned about the productivity indicators. Do you think it's not, it is actually worthwhile to talk about the indicators in this meeting?
And I think we should be enlightened also how the board see it in terms of productivity.
What can you clarify what you mean by productivity indicators? What was your the end in mind? Because so far what we have identified, at least when we speak of productivity, somehow has part of the indicators of it is something to do with the time, the outputs itself, delivering what you have to deliver, and then of course we were saying a while ago it has something to do with the quality and the right time. So far, do you have any other? I mean, what do you have in mind when you say indicators?
I think we already discussed that. So
This is it. Okay, so you already have this as the indicator.
So I think it would be unfair if you will ask us what are observations. Because most of us are not around in the office. So I think it should be lobbied by the executive director. What is your observations for every staff? So you can enlighten us.
I can share. I will share my thought. I wanted
issues
to
of
hear
productivity.
first. I wanted to hear first. Yes, ma'am.
Are we not going to talk about motivation? I mean, how come we're always referring to outputs when we don't also consider? Maybe we forget to consider as well whether the people are even motivated to start to deliver on time.
Okay. I'll note the motivation. Although, again, I would like to ask first. I would like to lay the ground first. Do we have any issues in terms of productivity? Because otherwise, if we don't have an issue, maybe it's not. Maybe we're not discussing. We don't need to discuss about it. I just need to establish first. Do we really have an issue so far, or what is your observation? So far, Paul is saying there's none. Christine is saying somehow that there is because there's divided time. So
No, that's not what I meant.
Okay.
Because I was just telling that most of us are having
Okay, so-
engagement with others.
Okay.
However, the time, even our time is divided.
I will.
We also
Thank you.
have, even our time is divided. We can manage to submit our deliverables.
Okay.
But I would like to agree with Paul because I think for both of us, we don't have issue regarding productivity. However, the mere fact that you called for this meeting means that you think that there's an issue regarding productivity. That's why I suggest that you should also tell what's in your mind because maybe you're the one having issues on productivity.
Okay. Yeah, I was telling as I was standing there a while ago. I'm getting several feedback from several people that asking me that I should discuss this already with the team in terms of productivity. So I'm here to clarify the issue. If there is such thing as really a productivity issue, if there's none, then at least we have established that there's none.
But for you, do you think?
I would like to hear.
I think we have established For our part and my part and Paul's part, we have no issues.
Yes.
But excuse me.
Okay, so let's hear from
I'm actually disturbed, when we're talking about productivity issues first in a group setting, when in fact we didn't even try to talk to the people.
Sorry? Then this is the time that we're actually
I mean face to face perhaps. I mean, oh my God.
Since they are issuing us,
If we're talking about individual performance, then the individual should.
Okay, so hold on. But we're not talking about individual performance. I'm trying to get some facts that we can use as such. Of course, I will do that.
But it just mentioned that there are sort that people told you that
Yeah, some
you
people-
have sources there.
Yes, yes. And this is actually a venue to be able to clarify that before jumping to a conclusion that there is indeed an issue.
Okay. But it would be nice, I think, for us to face with them. I mean, meet with them, right? If they're the ones telling you that we have issues on productivity, then why not include them here in this meeting?
Yeah. Okay, but before that, I would like to establish at least for this group of people, because I've already talked to them. So this is my time to hear your voice and to hear your part. So now I would like to ask if there's an issue. But so far what I'm getting is that there's no issue. At least for
Yes, we already.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
okay, so what do you think made them say that there is a productivity issue?
Well,
Maybe that's something for the
I think they don't know what we are doing for the program, and I think they barely see us working
In the office.
because they are also away from the office from time to time.
Yes, that's why I suggest we really should include them in this meeting, just so we can talk about it face to face.
Okay, I'll put that in some recommendations.
I think we need to have a formal grievance system here because we just.
But I think there must also be clear protocols or set standards
But
by
they
the
go hand in hand. I mean, they go hand in hand. And how are we going to have a clear guidance or even mechanism when you're not also clear about the measures and standards you're going to use to assess productivity?
But if we are going to talk about grievance
on.
mechanisms
Sorry.
and policies,
So you were saying
Okay, time's up.
Okay.
Sige. What did the meeting resolve?
So for me naman, kasi sabi nyo, well sorry, it was in English. You were asking to talk about productivity, and so far we ended, at least before the time runs out, to create like some action points that we need to.
No, the question was resolved if ANSA staff should be allowed to take in engagements from the outside
So I thought it was the productivity issue.
because there were
Okay.
reported
That's
productivity issues.
okay. So far what I got from Christine is that there is no, I mean there's no, even if there's divided time, they can still deliver. So in terms of productivity,
Sige. That's from your.
yeah, that's from my.
About the others. Sige, recall. Let's recall what happened. What happened in the last 15 minutes or so that we asked Giselle to facilitate that discussion.
well, I think there were a lot of ideas that we shared.
From among 5 people, from among
Yes.
4 people.
There were a lot of ideas that we shared, and there were a lot of suggestions that we want to happen in the meeting. And then just how the facilitator, she's writing it down, and then some of it, she said, we'll go back to it later. And then, but I think those suggestions and ideas that we shared and that she wrote sort of misdirect the meeting to what, to answering the purpose or to achieving the
Sort of derailed you a bit, no, about what you really needed to resolve at that time.
Okay.
If for me, the start of the thing, productivity is a vague topic, so that's why at the end of the meeting, it's split on everywhere. So I think that's what I recall.
But if you had the luxury of time, that would have set the premises for what you wanted to resolve. But the issue at hand was whether or not ANSA staff will be allowed to take in engagements from the outside. Aldrich, what happened? Recall. What happened? How did the participants behave in the meeting?
Well,
Apart from the facilitator.
well, some participants, we can see that some of them are not really interested in the meeting, just for the heck of it. Just for the heck of it. I mean, if there's for sure the facilitator knows who among the participants are really there to really engage with the issue, and those who are there for the sake of presence.
Like who?
Like me.
Why? What manifested?
Maybe
How did you behave like?
Well-
Or how did Aldrich behave like?
It disturbed me.
I didn't realize that you're not interested because you kept on what do you call this? You kept on contributing to the discussion.
What were his contributions?
He was giving his insights and he was what do you call this? Saying like maybe we should go to. He was trying to put on other topics, but I think that's like maybe we should discuss more of the motivation. So if you're not really interested, I think. But for me, the manifestation would be you would be checking your email. You're not
checking my email.
Yeah, and for me that's a manifestation, not really someone who will still battling in this situation.
Well, what were the kind of suggestions you were getting from him? Were they on track?
It was quite out of the. I think it was deliberate to pull it out of the discussion, to keep it away from the discussion. Well, that's my interpretation. That's it.
Paul.
The meaning we have different personalities. So like me, I want it to be straightforward or totally not to discuss the issue productivity. Or others try to look into other factors to cater the issue.
How would you describe that kind of behavior? Obstinacy? Is it sticking to just one thing?
I think it's just sticking to one thing.
Others? What else happened in the meeting? And then, if the ultimate check of success is whether or not you were able to arrive at the resolution and you were not, what got in the way of arriving at that?
What got in the way to resolve it? Well, for me, kasi the way I tried to get that information that people should not get additional job. Kasi I didn't go directly to the issue. I wanted to get the issue from them. Kasi it's hard naman putting them in, hey guys, we have this issue of people getting additional work. You're already classified as suspect eh. So parang I don't want that kind of atmosphere to start on the thing. That's why I asked them, guys, do you have any issue about productivity? Although it somehow, I mean, Christine brought that up that other people are doing it. But she also debunked it that even if people are doing other things, they can still deliver. So that's why I was asking you a while ago, do you agree with that and so on?
So therefore, that's a helpful way of managing the process, the group process. What got in the way? Okay, I'll show you in the next slide. Do you agree with this? That in the work that you do, you will always be confronted with complex discussions where people have different views and interests, especially if you're naturally opposable. You're NGO, you're talking to business. NGO, common good, business, profit. Especially if you're NGO talking to government. if you're NGO facilitator talking to community members who would rather be at home doing the laundry, cooking, preparing food for the children, or whatever it is. And here you are talking about classrooms, chairs, teachers, and textbooks. People will always come with different perspectives, and you will always be forced to confront complex discussions. If people are naturally opposable, if people are naturally different from each other, facilitation plays a role on whether that process will be successful or a failure. And I'll show you. Can you jump 4 slides? Let's keep that. Because in a complex discussion, you will always be confronted with nuisance participants who are there because they're forced to be there. They'd rather be doing the laundry. They'd rather be cooking lunch. They'd rather be elsewhere. They'd rather be doing something else. So they're there in your meeting, they're there in your process because they're agitated, because they're irritated. They will do anything and everything to derail, to disturb you, to ruffle your feathers. There will always be participants in meetings that are know-it-alls. They know everything. They have an answer to anything and everything that you want to talk about. There will always be participants who are the late arrivals and yet the first to leave. So when you go back, meet again in the next meeting, these people will always disrupt your process. What did we talk about the last time? What did we agree on? Everyone else, you stepped out. You were not here anymore. You did not participate in the process. But because that person is always late, yet the first to leave, will insist on recalling everything that you already covered in the last meeting at a time when that person was not yet in the room. Okay? There will always be people or participants that are like broken records. They will keep repeating a point. They will keep repeating an idea. They will keep repeating an experience. Did we do this already the last time? Or I wrote an article about this. You refer to that. Even if you're talking about something else. Right? Or government officials will say, we already had a memorandum about that before. You just go back to that. You just follow that. It was already in the guidelines and so on and so forth. Right? We keep harping on something that will just go on and on and on and on. And derail you also from meeting the objective of the meeting. And then there's also what we call the silent committee. Who's there, sign the attendance, get food, and then leave. And even if there were tasks assigned to that person, nothing gets done. Because when you confront the person as to where the deliverable is, he will say, did I say anything during the meeting? I will not recall anything about a commitment, about a task that he or she is accountable for. And there are several others, other disruptions, other irritants in the meeting that will confront you as you go about your task in facilitating these meetings. The question is, what's a facilitator? What should you do? If your task is the facilitator, what then therefore is your position? Let's ask the question, how do you, from your experience, define facilitator? How would you define facilitator? And then what's the role of the facilitator in the meeting? So what's facilitator? What's the role of the facilitator?
Well, mine is, for me, my perspective of a facilitator has something to do with being like someone like an engineer, building the pathway from your current situation to your objectives, as you were saying a while ago. Like getting the like, or also a captain of the ship, like getting to the destination that you want with. So it's like the one who is driving the discussion, but not in a way that already influences what others would say. To be able to just get my own what do you call this, my own agenda. So it's yeah.
I think it's more like weaving all the ideas from the participants and the one you're conveying. Because there are some times that you have this idea or you have this knowledge that you want to share, that you want to impart with your audience, and the audience itself has different perspective on what you are talking or what you are discussing. Then I think the role is to your role is to weave all those knowledge that you have and the knowledge from your audience.
I think the facilitator should be able to make sure that everyone is accounted for in the discussion because sometimes even if the participant does not speak, but the facilitator can sense whether there is something brewing up in him or her that needs to be shared to the audience or to the plenary. And that should be also accounted for and should be able to be captured by the facilitator.
I think the facilitator should be always aware of the people's needs. For example, if it's clear to their faces that they don't follow what is being discussed, then the facilitator
Keeping everyone in tow.
yeah,